Facebook's new privacy controls. They're simple, they're easy, they give users a greater perception of control. So can we be done talking about Facebook and privacy now? After all, didn't we start using Facebook in the first place because we wanted to share? Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg seems to recall that we did.
When we went through our December privacy transition, we asked people to make all of their information open to everyone. And I think it's actually pretty clear when you look at and examine the stuff that that's not the case. There are really big buckets of information that we think should be open to each field, each group of people. A lot of the basic stuff that people share, status updates, for example, or information for people to find them, we think it does by default make sense for people to make open to everyone. But photos of you and videos of you, we think that makes a lot more sense to restrict to just the community around you. And really sensitive stuff like contact info, we think it makes sense to restrict to just your friends.
And Zuck also noted in that talk that for all the naysaying in the media, Facebook's numbers have held steady in their growth. There was no mass exodus. Did bloggers and tech press blow users' privacy concerns out of proportion?
I certainly think that it became sort of a trendy thing to talk about, for better or for worse. And so I do think it was a little blown out of proportion in the media.
This is Brett Taylor, Facebook's director of platform. While he might think the media had a lot to do with this, quote, public outrage, he's not sure the upset is ever going to disappear forever.
I view technology changes as inherently disruptive. Not in a bad way, but just disruptive. When the telephone, was invented, it changed communication. When the railroad was invented, it changed both transportation and shipping. And in a way that was incredibly disruptive to, our culture, in a good way, but disruptive, And social networks have changed the way sharing works inherently. It has just changed the way people think about the way the internet works and the way privacy works.
And when Facebook did decide to make privacy changes, it wasn't media hot air that influenced them to do so, but rather nonprofit organizations, legislators, and advocacy groups.
I think the advocacy groups who have, come out and given us the most direct feedback, they really do have, it may be a different perspective on things, but they are trying to represent the interests of their constituency. And we really respect their opinions, even when we disagree.
Finally, will Facebook's changes be simple enough to keep the network out of the media for a while, at least where privacy is concerned?
So I'm hoping that people's core concerns will be addressed, but practically speaking, this is a social service, and it's being used in new and different ways every day. And so I think this will be something that people want to talk about. How does this impact the way our culture thinks about privacy, thinks about sharing, thinks about openness? So I think it will be an ongoing dialogue.